A powerful human throws a mischievous child into the air. When the child returns to Earth, his condition worsens. Who is Hancock, this powerful human? It depicts some robbers fleeing from the police. This information was widely disseminated. A man is shown sleeping while wearing a cap. Meanwhile, a kid appears and says, "Hancock, get up, just look at the bad guys." The kid was telling him he was a superhero. Get up quickly and save the city from the bad guys. Hancock ignores the kids, which is why one of them calls him a fool and walks away. Hearing this word, Hancock becomes enraged. He flies to the destination at full speed. The location where the robbers were running after robbing. Hancock sits in their car. The robbers ask him, "How did you come here?" Hancock says, "There is not a girl, not wine, even then you are driving at a high speed. There should be a little party." They become furious hearing this, so they start shooting at Hancock. Due to the bullets, Hancock's glasses and wine bottle break. Hancock becomes furious because of this. He stops the car there with his feet. This is the reason the gangsters become furious. They also call Hancock a fool. Hancock says, "Just call me a fool once again, then see what I will do to you." As the gangster calls him a fool, Hancock picks their car in the air like a Superman, collides it with the buildings. He takes their car to a tall building and stabs it in a sharp pool. Seeing all this, we discovered Hancock has superpowers, means he can fly in the air, no bullet can affect him. He has many superpowers like superheroes. Even Hancock has stopped the robbery, but the media was covering the news against him. It was said that Hancock was again creating a mess in the city. He has done a 90 lakhs loss. Who will fill the void left by this departure? Hancock was also watching the news while sitting in a bar. The scene shifts and a man is shown. His name was Ray. He was giving a presentation to some employees of his company. He says, "You are all the huge businessman of this country, your business run well. We earn a lot of money, but we don't do anything for the poor. We don't help the poor. I have made a plan to make a united symbol of the whole world. It will work equally in each country of the world. Basically, its purpose will be to help the poor. To provide free medicines to the poor." After listening to this word free, the businessmen ask Ray to leave. Ray's boss says, "Are you insane? If we will help the people free, then how will we earn the money?" Later Ray was thrown out of the meeting. When Ray was returning home, there was a crowd on the way. There was a car in front of Ray's car and behind as well. Meanwhile, the train is shown coming from the front with a continuous horn. Ray becomes scared seeing it. He says to his front car to move the car because the train is coming. But none listens to him. The man in the front car says, "There is traffic in front, how can I move the car?" Ray tries to escape. He opens the seat belt and tries to open the car's handle. But they both didn't work. The handle of his car breaks. Ray understands now he couldn't escape, but then Hancock arrives like an angel. He asks Ray, "Why did you park the car here?" Ray says, "Hurry up, save me," and Hancock throws the car while lifting it up. He couldn't stop the train that was coming speedily. He stands in front of the train like a pillar. The train stops there while colliding with him. Hancock has saved Ray, but when he sees the train, its compartments have ruined the city while colliding with different things. There was a great loss due to it. The people there start abusing Hancock seeing this. They say ill about him and say that he is a fool and has no brain. "See, you have done a great loss." The condition of trains and tracks gets worse. Hancock doesn't say anything to them and was listening to them. Then he says, "Say whatever you want, it doesn't matter to me." Meanwhile, Ray arrives and says, "What are you doing? I have a family, and if I am alive today, it is just because of him. It means because of Hancock. If he will not be here, I would be ended." Hancock says in reply, "It's okay." Ray says, "My car has been broken completely. Will you drop me at my house?" Hearing this, Hancock drops his car at his home while lifting his car with his powers. Ray's son is shown, and he was a huge fan of Hancock. He was excited while finding Hancock at his home. Meanwhile, Ray's wife Mary also arrives. She says he is the man of the news that does breakage everywhere. Ray says, "Today he has saved my life. If he would not be there, I wouldn't be alive." While saying thank you, Hancock was leaving. Ray says, "Why don't you have dinner with us today?" Hancock says, "Yes, of course, why not?" While having food, they were talking to each other. Ray's son says, "There is a boy in the street who teases me a lot." Hancock says to ignore him. Just kick him with power. He will be quiet there. Mary says he is a kid, don't teach him this stuff. Hearing this, Hancock goes to the washroom with his wine bottle. Mary asks Ray, has he really brought the wine bottle to the washroom? After returning, Hancock says thanks to Ray. He leaves. At night, Mary says to her husband to stay away from Hancock. Because everyone used to say ill about him. His image is also not good in society. If you will be with him, your image will also get ruined. Hancock was listening to this while sitting at their house's roof. Hancock is shown the next morning. He awakes. He picks up a small box from nearby. There were 2 tickets for the picture that was sent by Ray. Seeing this, Hancock becomes emotional and thinks, I have to build my image positively. I have to make myself good. He goes to Ray's house, but on the way, a kid calls him a fool. Hancock asks that kid his name. Hearing the name, Hancock discovers he is the kid who teases Ray's son. The kid asks Hancock, what are you doing here, fool? Hancock asks the kid to call him a fool once again, then see what I will do to you. As the boy says, fool, while coming near to Hancock, Hancock throws the boy into the sky, upside the sky that you can't imagine. Ray also arrives and asks what is going on here. Hancock says everything is fine, there is nothing happened. The boy was falling down from the sky. Hancock saves him from falling down. After this incident, the boy leaves while weeping and screaming. Ray asks Hancock, have you flown that boy in the air? Hancock says no, he was just doing fun, so I think to make him enjoy in the air. Later, they sit in their room. Ray says you are a good human and you want to help people. But in return, the people say ill about you. None gives you respect, you have to tell people how many powers you have. Just like a superhero, you are also a superhero who is always ready to help people. Hancock says yes, I help people like this. Ray shows him a YouTube video. He says, look, once a huge fish came out of the water on the beach, you have thrown it far that it fell on the boat at a far distance. Hancock says, I don't remember this. Ray shows him another video and says, look, you were robbing an ice cream shop in torn clothes. All kids were laughing while seeing you. Because your clothes were torn. And Hancock asks, have you saved people from a burning house? I was in that condition because of it. I saved people from a burning house. They were talking. Meanwhile, Mary arrives. She starts doing her task while ignoring them. Ray says to Hancock, if you want to build your image well, you have to do something good for people. The news reporter says there are almost 600 cases against Hancock, but he hasn't said anything in court. Even he didn't enter into the prison ever. Ray says, Hancock, this is the right time. If you want to make a place in people's heart, make yourself arrested by the police. Go to the prison, live as a prisoner in the prison, so the people will think now you have changed. The people will call you if they need you. Hancock doesn't want to do this, but now because Ray was doing all this for him, that's why he made himself arrested. Hancock says what Ray has given him in a written form in a conference meeting. The police also throw him into prison. Seeing Hancock in the prison, all the prisoners were staring at him. They were saying ill to him. A tall prisoner stops his way while coming in front of him. Hancock asks him to move away from his path. The prisoners say, how can we leave you? Because of you, we are in the prison. The tall prisoner says to Hancock, you will be ended today. Hancock says, if you will not leave my path, I will make your condition worse. Now hurry up, leave my path. Meanwhile, the tall prisoner calls him a fool. Hearing this, Hancock becomes furious. He stabs a small prisoner in him. After this incident, Ray comes to meet him. Ray says, you have promised me to be good. If you will keep on doing this, how everything will be fine. Meanwhile, Hancock cuts the glass in a round shape with his nail. He says, yes, now the voice is clear. Ray tells him your imprisonment is 8 years. Hancock becomes furious and was about to leave while breaking the door. Ray tells him that if you will behave nicely, your punishment will be reduced by half. These 4 years will pass very soon, and if the government will need you, you will be free at that time. Your good tasks will make you a superhero. Hearing all this, Hancock decides to stay in jail. All the prisoners are shown doing a meeting at a place. They were telling their life incidents. When it was Hancock's turn, he says to pass. It means he has nothing to tell. The prisoners in jail used to play volleyball to pass their time. Hancock each time wins the match while dodging the ball once. Like this, many days passed. Ray again comes to meet him in jail. He says to Hancock, now you are doing well, I want to tell you some important points. To say, good job, to every person who has done a good job. Hancock doesn't say anything here. There was news on the TV, the crime rate has increased by 30%. If Hancock will be there, the crime wouldn't increase this much here. There were some supporters of Hancock. Some of the people still say ill about him. That whenever Hancock arrives, he does breakage everywhere. It would be better to keep him in jail. We don't want to release him from jail ever. Ray's wife Mary is shown with her son to meet Hancock. She has brought food for him. Hancock becomes happy after eating it. Mary tells Hancock that Ray has many expectations from you. So please don't break his expectations. He is a good human. Hancock was fond of drawing, that's why he has made drawings on every wall. One day, while playing volleyball, their ball falls at a far distance from the ground. Hancock jumps from there to bring the ball back. All the police officers and prisoners were thinking now Hancock will run. Hancock also thinks for a short time, why don't I run from here while breaking jail? Then he remembers what Ray has said. He thinks if I will run from here Ray's heart will break, so he returns to jail with the ball. The next day, the police officer awakes Hancock and says the minister has called you. It means because of the crime in the country they need a superhero that can fight against evil and save people. Hancock goes to the location while wearing his superhero costume where the police officers were stopping the robbery in the bank. Reaching there, Hancock says to the police officers, "Good job." The police officer says stop saying good job and go inside to save people. Meanwhile, Hancock notices a female police officer. She was injured due to shooting bullets and Hancock asks her, "Can I touch you, to save your life?" The police officer says yes, "Hurry up, save my life." Meanwhile, Hancock lifts the car in his hand on which the robbers were shooting bullets. After saving the police officer's life, Hancock says, "Good job." Hancock reaches the place where robbers have joined the prisoners while fixing the time bomb. Hancock reaches there and was throwing the robbers from the window while ending them one by one. Later, the main robber faces Hancock. He says to Hancock, "You have ended my companions. I want you to break the bank locker for me. If you will do this for me, I will leave the prisoners here with the fixed bomb." Hancock says, "No, I can't do this." The robber becomes furious and calls him a fool. Because Hancock doesn't like this word, he opens the table lamp and takes out a nut, then makes it flat. He says, "Just call me a fool once again. Then see what will I do to you." As the robber calls him a fool, Hancock hits the round flat thing on his hand. Due to it, his hand cuts. After it, the scene shifts outside the bank. Hancock gives his cut hands and the remote of the bomb to the police officer. He says, "Now all are saved. Good job, you have done a great job." In reply, the police officer says, "You have done a good job today, not us." Meanwhile, the Wild City starts clapping for Hancock. Now the people discovered the importance of Hancock. Hancock was famous now in media and news. At night, Hancock, Ray, and Mary were sitting in a restaurant for dinner. They were sharing moments of their lives. Ray tells, "I had a son from my ex-wife. But then my wife died, and when I went to the mall for shopping for my son I was confused. I found Mary there. She understood my worries while seeing me and helped me. She decided to live with me always." Mary says, "Yes, I haven't found a person like Ray in my life. He is very nice." Hancock tells us something about you. Hancock claims that many years ago, someone hardly attached my head. Due to it, my head got injured. The people took me to the hospital, but then after a short time, my wounds were healed. When I wake up there was none. When I checked my pockets there were only 2 tickets for pictures. Believe me, there wasn't anyone to take care of me. Hearing it, Ray says, "Why this isn't told by the news?" Hancock says, "This is an almost 80 years old incident. I am immortal, I can't die." Ray was drunk, so Hancock drops him at his home while lifting him on his shoulder. While leaving he sees Mary and they attract each other due to an unknown reason. Suddenly, Mary throws him far while lifting him. Hancock becomes surprised that none can touch him, the bullets can't affect him. How Mary has become so powerful that she threw me so far. Mary tells him, "I am also like you. I have the superpowers, but if you tell Ray about it, there will be none evil than me." The next morning, when Ray awakes he notices the broken wall of his house. The condition of his car was worse. Mary tells him yesterday night Hancock sneezed. Due to his sneezing, there is a big hole. Ray becomes surprised that his sneezing can make a huge blast. Hancock also arrives. To take over the conversation, Mary says, "Hancock, you sneezed yesterday, that's why our wall was broken, so please don't sneeze hardly today." While supporting her, Hancock says, "I used to sneeze whenever there is dust." Suddenly, Ray receives his boss's call. Hancock tries to tease Mary. He tries to stab a sharp thing in her shoulder. He hits her head with a roller. When he was about to hit her with 2 pans, Mary notices her. Hancock says, "I can do this all day." Mary asks Hancock, "What's your problem? What do you want? Why are you doing all this to me?" Hancock says, "Because I want to talk to you. So meet me in the evening at my home." Mary accepts this. As Ray moves to the office, Mary goes to meet Hancock at his home. Hancock asks her, "Who are we? How do we get these superpowers?" Mary tells him the people call us God, angels, and even superheroes. Hancock asks, are there other people like us? Mary says no, all are dead, only we two are left. This is over 1,000 years old. Hancock asks her, who are you to me? While telling a lie, Mary says, I am your sister. Hancock says, no, impossible, because of the way you were attracting me, I don't think you are my sister. You are hiding the truth from me. Mary says, I am telling the truth, believe me. Even then Hancock doesn't believe her. Hancock says, okay, no problem, now I am going to tell your truth to your husband Ray. Here, to stop him, Mary fights with him. A massive fight creates between them. To stop Hancock, Mary throws a huge truck at him. Hancock also competes with her. Mary becomes furious because of it. She creates a storm there due to it. Due to it, there were black clouds in the whole city. There was snow. Their fight was so dangerous the buildings of the city also start breaking. The building was also included in them in which Ray works. Ray sees them. The scene shifts to Ray's house. Mary tells Ray, yes, I knew Hancock. He used to be my husband, which is an old story. I choose you to stay away from him. There is nothing like what you are thinking. I am yours and will be yours forever. Hancock feels sad while hearing this. He skipped drinking, but now he again starts drinking. He picks 2 bottles of wine from a nearby store. When he goes to pay the bill, the shopkeeper says, there are 2 robbers hidden in my shop. Hancock takes out the robbers while putting his hand into the wall. He beats them a lot. Meanwhile, a robber points a gun at the shopkeeper. He hits him chocolate, but until then the robber has shot the bullet to Hancock. Here, the blood of Hancock is shown flowing. He starts bleeding and falls there. The people take Hancock to the hospital. He was surprised while thinking, how can a bullet affect him? Even the bomb can't affect him. Meanwhile, Mary arrives here. Seeing Hancock in this condition, Mary tells Hancock this is an almost 40 years old incident. We were one at that time. But whenever we try to be one, the people arrive to end us. Our powers are also removed when we come closer to each other. Look, this sword mark is of that time. Saying this, she shows a mark of burn on her hand. She tells this is the mark of 1850. We were close to each other at that time. You saved me from a burning house. Later, you left from there. When we were far from each other, we recovered. This also happened 80 years ago, and you also told us that story. You were recovered when I moved far from you. They were talking. Meanwhile, the hand-cut robber arrives. The robber whose hand was cut by Hancock shoots Mary. Mary was injured because of it. Hancock becomes furious while seeing her this condition. He ends all the robbers one by one. Here, Hancock's powers were decreased, but still, he wasn't a complete human. That's why he was ending all the robbers there. In the last, it was the turn of the hand-cut robber. He beats Hancock and also shoots bullets at him. Hancock was feeling pain, and on the other side, Mary was also suffering from pain. The hand-cut robber says, if you will go to hell after death, so be thankful to me. Because I am the person who will end you. Now you are completely a human. None can stop you from dying. As he was about to shoot the last bullet at Hancock's head, Ray arrives. He cuts his other hand with an axe. It was too late because Mary wasn't breathing and her heartbeat was also not working. Then Hancock remembers what Mary said. We will die whenever we will be closer to each other. Remembering this, Hancock again stands up. He jumps from the window of the hospital. Due to it, Mary's heartbeat increases. Hancock again does the same and jumps. On another side, Mary starts breathing. Later, Hancock jumps so high that he reaches the moon. After this, Mary comes to her senses. She has recovered. After 6 months, the scene is shown again. Ray's family is shown happy here. They were enjoying ice cream. Meanwhile, Ray receives Hancock's call. He invites him to see the moon for the first time. When Ray sees towards the sky, he notices the symbol. He approached the other businessmen to do good tasks. Hancock has returned as a good superhero to assist the people. This is the end of the film.